Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to this month's webinar from Kinetics. And it's about embracing generative AI, in particular, utilizing AI through Copilot and Microsoft 365 services. We're excited to be presenting this webinar today, which is actually in an extended format. We would normally do half an hour, but because of the demand, we've had over 50 registrations for today, and we've got a session which is lasting a full 1 hour. So welcome all of those who are joining for the first time, or our regular customers who are joining the regular monthly sessions. My pleasure to introduce Ben Fish, who will be very familiar to many of our customers. Ben is one of our most experienced consultants, a very experienced trainer of Microsoft products and services, and has been our lead in the AI space since we started adopting AI with ChatGPT and other ERP-based AI tools. So welcome, Ben. Wouldn't mind if you could just give a bit of an overview of your background and what you've been doing recently with AI within our customer base and prospects.
Hey, thank you very much, Matt. Morning to everyone. Thanks for joining us. So I've really got into using AI since the start of the year, once Copilot became available to small and medium enterprises. My experience so far, well, I'm going to share some of that, so I don't want to give too much away at this very early stage, because I'm going to share you some of those use cases, what you can actually do with it as we go through, but also share a bit about there's lots of other AI options that we do have as well in 365. We're all exposed to it, as it were. So even my father-in-law, he's just celebrated his 93rd birthday. He uses ChatGPT to actually help him in the authoring of articles that he does for a couple of publications. Helps him out with his research. So it's touching everyone. We're all used to searching using Google, but I think you're going to find that really is going to change. If you're an Edge user, you've probably found that already, that you're now getting this more sort of assisted service when it comes to searching, because you're using Copilot as part of that. If you've not used it so far, you're certainly going to see some of that today.
And looking forward to going through that, Ben, in the sessions, particularly in the practical demonstrations that you're going to be giving. I think one of the things that it's important to position, I suppose, Kinetics' purpose around your AI journey. Well, it's actually something that you're reaping the benefit of, the journey that we've been on with AI for some time, and we haven't been able to get that underway without actually having a structured plan around delivering the benefits of AI to our business. In the first instance, we've looked at it from a strategic approach, and we've developed a framework which will give us a strategic roadmap, which we want to share with you, our customers, about how to take you on that journey. Now, for us, it's included 5 key steps. Our ability to do a readiness assessment for our own organization, and that goes right down to understanding the data that we have that is going to be exposed to generative models like Copilot. The people change aspect of this. We've got a governance plan around how we implement it around our processes and controls within Kinetics itself. We've been doing AI introductory workshops for our own teams to raise the readiness, and I'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the session, because we've got an offer for everyone at the webinar today for you to take advantage of within your own organizations. And then the final step that we're in the process of developing key policies, processes, and tools for is the compliance and data governance plan. Now, all of these things are things that are a part of what we call the strategic roadmap, and it's really key for us to engage with our existing clients through the likes of the flight plan, and making sure that you understand what those key steps are if you are taking this journey. So our next webinar is actually, where are you on the journey to AI? And so I'm actually going to post a bit of a QR code in the chat today for those of you on the call who want to register for that next month, because that's our next session. How do you take you through that process? But without further ado, I'll just run through some housekeeping We will obviously be recording this. The whole event will be recorded. So you'll get a video at the end of it. You'll also get a copy of the presentation that you can take away and share with your teams. If you do want to ask any questions during the session, just either raise it in the chat or raise your hand. We also have at the end of the session a Q&A, and if there are things that you want to hold off until the end, you're most welcome to ask them in the Q&A session. Post this, we'll actually put the presentation in the chat for your reference, and we'll also make the link to the YouTube video available to everyone who's attended. So let me hand over now to Ben, and he can take us through his introduction and agenda for the session today. Over to you, Ben.
Okay, thank you very much. So first off, just to let you know, the session isn't just a whole range of slides. We've got some slides to support what we're going through, but it's going to be some real hands-on practical in terms of me being hands-on and actually showing you in real time how Copilot works. So a bit of an intro. AI is not anything new. In fact, it's around about 50 years old, but generative AI certainly is a recent thing. You know, it's ChatGPT, I think, was launched in about the end of 2022. Don't know if I have the date exactly correct. And I'd probably say if you haven't heard of ChatGPT or generative AI, you've possibly been living under a rock. Now, there are some other tools in addition to ChatGPT, which you may have used. Gemini is Google's offering that you can utilize, and Microsoft's is Microsoft Copilot. Now, Microsoft's Copilot actually uses ChatGPT. I don't know if they outright own it now or they've bought into it, whatever it might be, but that's you call it the large language model that it utilizes. Now, there's an opportunity that's presented to us, and that's to get on board. In fact, if you don't get on board, you're going to be left behind. You'll have missed the bus, as it were. Of course, you can always get on the bus later on, but I'd say get on board now. You'll see loads of benefits of it. Like I say, I mentioned earlier on, I think when it comes to your search box in any browser, I reckon in about 12 months' time, it won't list a whole heap of pages that you can look through. It will be that generative AI assistant experience that we'll see as we go through today as well. Okay, so a bit about why. So just to cover off, it makes a lot of things we do way, way easier. So it can assist in all the everyday tasks. You know, it's quite quick in terms of what it does, so certainly it can make you a whole heap more efficient and save you time. Again, we're going to see examples of that. You know, it gives you assistance. It can get you started on things. Okay, now you'll probably find there's loads of disclaimers, particularly with Copilot. You know, check for accuracy, review the stuff. So it's not going to do the work for you and get you 100% of the way there, but it's probably going to get you somewhere in the sort of 80% region in terms of getting tasks done or started, in particular drafting content of any form. Okay, it's great for learning because it will actually explain what you are trying to learn about. So for example, if you want to know how to do a particular formula in Excel or find the highest top 5 values in an Excel file, if you go and put that into Copilot, it will come back, not only give you the formula to do it, it will explain it so you can actually learn from it. And that can be everything from relatively simple tasks to stuff that is just way, way more complex. Now the impact is actually on us as people. Okay, it's technology, you know, generative AI, but it's all about the people, you know. So it's for us to embrace that change and look at these new ways of actually doing our tasks. So it probably does change our workflow in terms of how we work as we do things. Okay, but potentially a real time saver. Okay, in fact, Microsoft, I went to their AI summit on Friday, and one of the slides that they brought up was that it is a 99% people/change management impact and a 1% IT. Right, in terms of a bit about the content we're going to go through, we're going to start off with a bit of Copilot in Edge. Copilot in Edge is available to everyone who's got Edge on their computer. Right? And it doesn't matter whether you're, a bit like my father-in-law that I mentioned, he's got access to it just on his home computer. He doesn't have to pay anything. It is now part of the Edge browser/experience. Okay. Because we are likely on a paid-for service with Microsoft through Microsoft 365, you'll find there's added protection in that, and I'll go over that. And you can go right up to actually purchasing a Copilot license that gives you even more features. Okay, we'll take a look at how it works in Teams, okay, and also how it impacts those day-to-day applications that we use, such as Copilot use in Microsoft Office. But before we do that, a quick bit about security. Now this comes if you are on a Microsoft 365 plan. You're using it in a business environment, you've got a business plan of forms, so I'm sure that probably pretty much applies to 99, if not 100% of us who are attending today. So our data is protected. Okay, it doesn't take the data that we've got out and take it elsewhere and help to build the large language model that generative AI uses or Copilot uses. Okay, it's all within our boundaries. Okay, Microsoft have put protection on there. Okay, to go over, so when you do enter prompts, so prompts are what you type in terms of what you'd like it to do or what you're wanting Copilot to help you with. Okay, you put prompts in, we'll see how you form those a bit later on. Okay, when you put those in, the responses remain within the 365 boundary, and it keeps all the privacy, security, and compliance commitments that you expect with your Microsoft 365 subscription/security and services. Right. Now, as you get in and use it, if you're buying the Copilot license and you're starting to draft content and to interrogate content based on data in your tenant, you will find that permissions are key. So this ties in with that readiness service that we offer that Matt spoke about. You need to make sure your house is in order. If it's not, even if you don't go to Copilot, you need to get it in order, by the way, but it just makes it even easier to surface information and produce documents, PowerPoints based on that information that you have access to, and it will include stuff, even if you're not meant to see it, if the permissions have not been applied correctly. Okay, now that might send you into a bit of a mode of panic, but I'll assure you that you should probably be panicking already if you think that's going to make you panic, because you can simply use the search in Microsoft 365 to leverage stuff you shouldn't be able to see if the permissions are incorrect. But we can help you get your house in order in terms of that. Okay, so we're going to take a bit of a look at Copilot in Edge. Now, I've got a few screenshots here, and then we'll actually dive into it. So it's to give you a bit of a flavor of the fact that there are 3 sort of different flavors of Copilot in Edge. There's the free version of Copilot. We've all got access to it. Like I mentioned, my father-in-law uses it. I use it on my home computer as well. And when you go in, you can simply put prompts in, do all the usual stuff you do in a browser search engine, and have this much, I'll call it a richer experience. It's like someone's working with you. They're going through all the pages, summarizing information and helping you out to get the results you need. Hey, we've then got the flavor that comes with our Microsoft 365 subscription. So it tells me here that I am actually protected. So I'll just zoom in a bit there. So I'm protected there. In fact, this is one of my colleagues, Vaughan, has kindly supplied this screenshot to me. So this means he signed in there with his Kinetics ID, and it's got that protection we talked about a moment ago on the previous slide in terms of data that we either request or we interact with in terms of Copilot in the browser. Okay. And then we've got the level beyond that. So the flavor of where you're actually paying for the Microsoft Copilot subscription that's available through 365. Okay, so you'll see I'm protected still, as it were, but I've got an option here to look at just interacting with web data using Copilot or my work data. Right, so some different flavors there. So a key takeaway from this, I would say for yourselves, if you're going to use Copilot, or an AI assistant, then use Copilot, go into Edge, make sure you're signed in with your company ID, not signed in with your personal Microsoft account, or not signed in at all, because then your data will be protected. So let's have a look at prompts. So let's actually see how this works. So just going to bring my browser up on screen. So I just want to show you, first of all, I'm actually in my personal account at the moment. It shows me personal. So just to show you there, nothing about being protected, but I've got Copilot. I just click on the wee icon on the right-hand side of the screen to bring it up. And as it says there, ask me anything. You don't have to just work with the side panel. You can click on the open link in new tab option, and it gives you a bit more focus. In fact, I'll take that off. Now, of course, I'm not going to teach you bad practices, so I'm not going to go and use this. I want to use that protected version. So I'll switch to where I'm signed into my work. Here I am in my work. I'm protected. I'm ready to go and do stuff. So let's just look at prompting. So in terms of prompts, I'm going to save doing a bit of typing by copying and pasting it in, but it shows here. Just going to close down the panel as well for the time being and focus on it on the full screen. Ask me anything so I can go in, paste in. So I want to find out a bit more about this company called Kinetics Group in New Zealand. So I'll go and do that. Traditionally, the sort of stuff that you may have done within a search engine. You might have gone into Chrome or Edge. Okay, and you'll start seeing here, it's surfacing information that's available to, well, say to me, to everyone who's, got access to the internet. It gives me that information. It tells me the sources. So I've got the reference sources. I can investigate those or click on them as well. So a good summary there of what Kinetics Group does, as it were. I could get more detail, so I can ask it for more detail, but you'll see it's even giving me suggestions here. So I don't have to necessarily type prompts in. It's giving me some prompts that I can utilize. Now, you can refine the conversation you're having. Okay, so it might be we ask more in here. Okay, and you can also keep the results as well. Because I'm in protected mode, if I go and close this down and come back tomorrow, this will not be in, it will not be in my sort of Copilot chat history. It clears all that down when you're working in protected mode. So if you get anything you want to keep, it is very key that you choose to keep it. So you'll see I've got a copy option here, and I've got an export option. So the export option, really handy. I can go and put this into a Word document. No trouble, and it will go and export it, and you'll see it's even taking me, because I'm signed in with my Microsoft 365 account, I now have a document that's got that information that I can go and utilize. Notice it calls it Copilot Answers, so it might be I want to go and rename that and give it something more meaningful. Now, as you use Copilot in the browser or anywhere really, it's really important, if you don't want to carry on this conversation, that you choose to change topic or start a new topic. Okay, happy to start over. And it does give me some prompt examples at the top, but I'm going to go through some ones that I've found really handy. So I want to do a bit of a comparison here. So compare features of Excel 2003 with Microsoft Excel in 365. So I go away and it goes and does a comparison. It pulls out details. Now I've kept it fairly simple. I've just put in two options there, but it could be, you're comparing a whole heap of things. Now, comparisons, in my mind, they tend to work a bit better if you put them into tables. So I'm not going to take this information here. I'm just going to refine and say that I'd like to improve it. So let's turn it into a table. Okay, let's submit that and let's see if it can do that for us. Okay, so here we go. Boom, way better. And you'll see here, I've even got an option now to go and edit it in Excel. Okay, don't have to do that. Maybe I simply want the table to be in a Word document and I export it to there. Okay. Now, you can be a bit more sort of descriptive and creative with your prompts. So although you can be quite simple there, you can ask it to draft things, you can ask it to summarize. We'll do a bit of that a bit later on as we go through. I'll just show you this one here where I'm being quite specific about the role that I want to take. Now, this one isn't particularly work related, as you'll see here, but I'm actually telling it, how do I want Copilot to act? Okay, well, I want you to take on a role. In this case, act as a parent. What do I want you to do? Explain to a child who is 5 the importance of saving money. Okay, so here we go. It's going to, be more like a parent, as we there. All right, sweetie, and all this stuff. Okay, so it takes on that role, looks at the audience it's addressing it to and gives me the result. Okay, so let's take that to a slightly different one here. Again, I don't want it to continue with that conversation. We'll go, right, here we go. Act as my wife and explain to me, yeah, that's me, the husband who's in his 50s, the importance of saving money and not spending it on bike parts. Okay. Right, there we go. Right. Okay, so you'll get the idea. It's not really about the saving money and all that and me spending it on bike parts, but you'll see how if we're quite clear on what we would like it to do, how we would like it to act, the results that we actually get. Again, if you like the result, make sure you keep it. Now, just a couple of other examples on this of things you can do with it. Okay, so here I want to draft a document on how to lift boxes and include images. Right. Now you'll see this is all happening in real time, and I've even noticed just from about a month or two ago when I first started using it that it has actually got way quicker than it was. I'd be sitting here almost painfully looking at it, waiting, thinking, well, I want something instantaneous. But we'll see here, it's pretty fast. There we go. It's gone and, told me all about lifting boxes there as well. Okay. I've also created an image. You can just ask it to create images as well. In fact, some of those bits that you saw on my slides, or you will see on my slides, are images that I have created using Copilot. I say I just type the prompt in. Okay, but here we go. Boom, we can go and take these, and I can actually click on those and view those. So there's image creation is part of Copilot as well. Again, looking at this, it's telling me the sources of those. Again, if I want to refine it, I can do. Okay, well, I quite like that one, so let's go and export that out to a Word document. If I want the pictures, I'm likely going to have to click on those and go and paste those in. Now, remember, with everything on here, I'd say it's getting me started. I've still got to review this, make sure it's right for my purposes, my audience, however I'm going to use it. So do always do your, I suppose we call it our due diligence, as it were. Right. So one last thing on this, and then we'll take a look at other options we've got with it. So I've got this huge report here. I think it's about 100 plus pages from Microsoft on digital defense. Now, I just want to get the key takeaways on this. So summarize the document. Okay, in fact, don't bother typing. You'll see on here, generate document summary. I don't even have to think. Look and learn, as it were. Okay. Now, of course, I could be a bit more specific. I maybe want just a one-page summary. So if I want a one-page summary, say I want a one-page summary. Okay, we'll start to get that right. I won't carry on with it responding, but you'll see on there it's starting to summarize that 131 page PDF document rather than me have to look through it. Of course, once I've got the summary, maybe there are bits that I'm going to go in and focus more on and look at within that document. So that's a wee bit of looking at Copilot from Edge. I'll just show you, if you're wondering why have I got this work tab. Now this is because I do have, on top of what's available through Copilot with Microsoft 365, I have a Copilot license on top of that. So that actually allows me to interact with my work stuff via the browser. Okay, so we'll see here. And with that, it does actually store my history. Okay, because that's all within the work walls, as it were. It hasn't gone anywhere else. Okay, we'll come back to some of this a bit later on because I actually prefer to utilize this tool from within Teams. I just find it a bit of a cleaner interface. Okay, so moving on from Edge, where else is Copilot available and how do we use it? So first stop I'm going to take you to is Power Automate. If you haven't heard of Power Automate, well, the clue's in the name. It helps you automate things, and it is a very powerful tool. It's been around, I think, for about maybe the last 5 years. It replaced what was called SharePoint Designer, as it were, and it actually allows you to pretty much automate any sort of process that involves not only your 365 kit, as it were, that you use, SharePoint, Teams, Word, all sorts of things that it can automate there, but also potentially outside tools as well. So other systems that you use, because it has connectors that allow you to talk to them. So how it's evolved, as it were, it used to be you built the automations yourself, step by step, as it were, much like you do anything. Okay, but now with Copilot, it will actually help you author and revise those. So I'll just switch over to my browser. Here is Power Automate here. Okay, so rather than go and say create and go via the step-by-step way of doing things, I've now got my AI assistant, as it were, on here. Now, I should point out this doesn't rely on you having a Copilot subscription. So anyone can go and try this, a bit like the things that I did in Edge. So I'm going to paste in what I want to do. Basically, every time I get an email with an attachment, I want to file that attachment to SharePoint. And I won't email all staff about it just yet. Let's see what happens once I do this. So I choose Generate on there, and what we're using here, you may hear us being termed as natural language queries. We're actually asking it what we'd like to do, or telling it what we'd like it to try and do, or what we'd like to achieve. So what we've got here, it's suggested, right, well, when you get a new email, for each, what it means for each, it means for each attachment, because there could be lots of attachments, of course, on an email. For each of these, go and create a file, or take that file and create it in SharePoint. Well, that is what I want to do, so I'm going to choose Next. Just wants to check that I now, can connect to those services, which of course I can. Everyone's got access to Outlook and SharePoint. And here we go. It's built out my flow, as it were. Now there's some bits I've got to fill in because I've got to tell it which SharePoint site I want to put it into. Okay, now I do want to refine it. I actually want to not only file my stuff, once I've filed the stuff, I want to let everyone know about it. I'm going to do it via email, but it could be you post to Teams as well. Okay, and again with this here, this option here for Copilot isn't currently reliant on the Copilot subscription. It's just there, available for everyone. I'll say that unless Microsoft have changed it. So there we go. I just told it what I'd like to try and achieve, and it's going to start building that out. I don't need to click on the plus sign and start going to add an action and then looking through all of these hundreds of thousands of actions and trying to figure out which one it is I actually need. Just tell it what you want to do. Hi. Of course, you don't have to use Copilot. You can use that manual method, but it can be toggled on and off. Okay, so not only is Power Automate already sort of an AI tool in terms of built-in workflows, so you don't have to handle stuff quite so much. And there, you can actually use generative AI to help build, improve, and advance your flows as well. Okay, so coming to Teams. Okay, of course, we're all using Teams today to be on the webinar in some form or not. So what can you actually do with Copilot in Teams? Well, I can't really demo this during the session because I'm actually on the webinar, as it were. But here's some bits where I've been using it. You know, if you any meetings that you have that are actually conducted via Teams, as long as you're the host organization and it's getting recorded / transcribed, what you can do is get AI notes. Okay, so here's an example of those. And on this one, all of the team, we all attended via Teams. So it's picked up who was on it, you know, what we talked about and everything else. It actually gives a summary at the bottom here. It's a screenshot, so I can't scroll down, of any actions as well. Now, while you're in a meeting, you can actually put Copilot on. There's a Copilot icon that sits on the toolbar of your Teams meetings, just like the mute and unmute and the video and all that stuff. And what you can do is you can actually get it to summarize what's happened during the course of the meeting. Maybe you've joined 5 minutes late and you want to know what's been spoken about already. Well, you can potentially do that. Here's an example of that. And it's given me different prompt suggestions as well. So we can ask it during the meeting, yeah, what are the action items? So here we go. There's some of those. And you can even question stuff. So on this one, I think it was our Monday stand-up meeting that we had, or team catch-up that we have on a Monday morning. And one of my colleagues was talking about their wife going away to choir camp. So it's like, oh, okay, right. So what is choir camp? Okay, so it told me a bit more about it. Okay, you know, also it might be you sort of miss out on the conversation because you're thinking and you want to find out or recap on it. So pretty handy. Hey, this is probably my favorite part because you can go and copy these. Of course, you can copy this as well. You'll see the copy icon is there, but you can copy these AI notes, refine them, circulate them with whoever they need to be circulated to. Boom, nice and easy, straightforward. You know, no need to have a designated minute taker who's got to do that job each meeting. Well, oh, okay. So we can also do preparation as well within Teams. So for this, I am going to bring up my main Teams window. So just bear with me as I do that. Okay, and within Teams, you can't see it here because I've got it popped out, but when you have a Copilot license, you will find in your list of icons where you've got your chat, your calls, your Teams, and all those, you'll have an icon for Copilot. And when you click on it, you will see this option here. In fact, you'll probably go, well, that looks very similar to when you clicked on the work option from within the web. Basically, it is the same tool. You can also get to it from your browser as well if you've got a Copilot subscription too. So it doesn't matter how you work. No. So what I want to do is I want to prepare for one of my later meetings. So I'm just going to say prepare for, and you do these slashes in here, or triggers, switches, whatever you'd like to call them. And notice it starts picking up. Okay, you've put a slash in there, meetings. So what I'm going to do here is I can go through and go, right, I want to prepare for you know, this catch up that I've got here, or my fortnightly one-to-one with Hyder. And what it will do is go away and start, you know, getting information that relates to that and hopefully helping me to get prepped. And just like when I was using Copilot in Edge, it will give me reference resources as well. Right. Now, while we're waiting for that, just to show you, there's always help on hand. Okay, boom, boom, boom. There we go. Do that. Okay, I'll just minimize that down. While you're doing that, there's always help on hand in terms of you can look at prompts. I'll come to those in a bit more detail in Word, but there it was, helping me get prepared for the meeting. I can always ask it more questions, as it were, as I go through. So that's a wee bit about Copilot in Teams. How about in Outlook? Now, although I get more and more comms in Teams these days, of course, most comms that come between me and external parties, certainly Outlook is the tool. So what I've got on the top of my emails now is an option to summarize. Now, of course, if there were just a couple of emails back and forth, I'm probably just going to scroll through and do it the old way, but this is quite a long message string. So I'm going to choose the summary. It may even be something that I've left for weeks or months that there's been no further action on, and I want to get that heads up of the conversations that have happened so far. Okay, now this is just a back and forth with me and one other person, but it could be it's across multiple parties. Messages have been forwarded, whatever else, but it will go through and give me a nice summary of what's going on within that. Okay. Just got to be a bit patient, this is in real time, as it were. I know on the event I went to at Microsoft on Friday while we're waiting for this, everything they do where they demo, they never do live demos. They just play videos. I think they've been burnt so many times by the technology not working at the speed they want it to, even though it's Microsoft products, that they're like, oh, we'll just do a video of it instead. Okay, I'm just going to have a little bit of patience while we do that. If it's taken a wee while, I'll maybe come back to it in a moment. Okay, it does say it's almost there, so it is usually pretty good at giving you a bit of a progress on there in terms of it. Okay, let's change what it's doing there, so I'll be patient and just give it another couple of moments. Okay, so there we go. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Okay, remember, always giving you the bit on there, so have a look at it. Don't take it as being 100% accurate. Always consider looking through it, and if you think doesn't sound quite right, of course you can look back between it. Now, the other thing we can do is we can use Copilot to help us draft. So I'm going to do a draft here and do a reply. Look at this. So I've got my option up here for Copilot. Okay, again, I should just be a bit patient. I'm clicking a bit too quickly. Okay, there we go. Draft. You can even get coaching as well. So coaching is going to help you, point out where you could actually improve your email. So here's the draft that I want to do. This is the basic idea of what I want to put down. But, I want to see if it can actually be improved. So I go generate, and it will look at not only the information I have put in there, it will also look at the email string below to formulate my response or my draft, reply, forward, whatever it is that I am actually doing. Again, looks like the bar's just being a wee bit slow there, so I might just let that run its course. Hopefully it will still work, and we'll come back and take a wee bit of a look at that one a bit later on. But I don't want to slow things down, as it were. We'll come back to that one in a moment. Okay, so a look over Word. Now, you can certainly draft things in Word, but you can also do what they call visualizing and rewriting as well. So to start off with, just a bit of visualizing. So I've got a bulleted list here. I've tried to put spaces or tabs in between. This would probably lend itself to being in a table. So as I select it, I get the Copilot icon. So I select text. So it gives me the rewrite option or the visualize option. Okay, well, I want to visualize it as a table. that's going to go away and put that together. Now, there's always a consideration when using any of the Copilot tools is, could I have done it more quickly myself by going to the icons? Now, I'm pretty quick at creating tables, and I know there's certainly an option here, insert, and if you go table, you can go convert text to table. So I reckon I probably would have been quite close to being as fast. But there we go. It's pretty quick. And if you had no idea how to do that, of course, Copilot's always going to, give you a bit of assistance for most tasks. Now, notice here with this, it says, right, well, what do you want to do with it? Do you want to keep it? Maybe I don't like what it's done. So I don't have to, I don't have to choose keep on there. But also it's giving me a bit of prompting here, remove the row about or add a column with numbering for each row. Right. And you can ask it to widen stuff and do all those things that you'd expect to do on a table. Now, of course, if you are used to working in tables, you might find that you are a wee bit quicker. I quite like that. What I'm going to do is keep it. Right. But as it drafts or redrafts things for you, you can actually step back through your history too and do that. In fact, I don't really need that anymore, do I? I've got it in my nice table. Well, let's just tidy that up as well. Right. So we can do a bit of visualizing. Now, we can also get it to help us draft and rewrite things as well. Okay, so I can bring up the panel, as it were. Right. Ask a question. It's got the prompts option here, so you'll see we can ask. We can also, draft a report based on, and again, you can do the slashes, and with that, it's not quite playing ball here. Let's see if I can go and do it from here instead. Okay. Draft a report based on. You'll see here I can do the slash, so it's picked up some of my recent files, but you can basically type in the name of the file that you are looking for, and you'll see it actually will search through. Okay, so draft a report. I'm going to base it on this PowerPoint. Now, it doesn't have to be a single file. You can actually go and do more slashes and put up to, at the moment, it's limited to 3 different files when you are using this. So let's just go generate on that. While we're waiting for that to do its stuff, let's go and see if we've had any joy on the email. So here we are. Hi, Ben, family issue manager. Okay. Okay, so it's got that. Now, I'm not sure if that's quite what I really want, but let's say it was getting me a bit further along. I can choose to keep it, and of course, I can go in and edit that as required. Well, okay, so here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Right, so this is a summary of this is the presentation in terms of that slide deck that we've got there. So I've now got my document produced on it. Of course, it can be the other way around. You might have a document and you want to produce your slide deck based on it. So let's keep that. Okay, pretty cool. So again, it's got me to the starting point. I've got my first draft, as it were. Now I can go and refine it, based on that presentation. Okay. So let's have a look at PowerPoint. So I've got a blank presentation here that I'm going to bring onto screen. So blank, again, got my Copilot option over here. Right. So here's a Word document. I want to base it on that. Notice on here, it's while you're working on a presentation, you can ask it to add slides about, and you can also start completely from scratch to get a framework for your presentation. create a presentation about on whatever the topic is, as it were. If there's content within your organization that relates to it, it will look to leverage that. If there's no content on it, it's going to, give you a bit of a framework to start from. Right. And there we go. Create a PowerPoint from Microsoft Copilot Answers. So it's going to look through that file. On this, it does start to give you quite a decent amount in terms of progress on there. So we'll see. It's now into drafting it. All right, here's the outline, what it's pulling out from there. Okay, and now it's generating the slides. Now, considering the amount of work it's actually doing, it is incredibly fast. I've got 10 slides here. It's got the content on them. Yep, I'm going to add some images to it. But also what it's done is it's actually got my speaker's notes in there as well. So, I've got to do a bit of modifying. It even gives me a suggestion on this. Well, do you want to use our AI tool that you've already got access to, Designer, to help you improve what you've got on your slides? So here we go. Oh, okay, I can start making it look really cool on there. So, of course, Copilot, you've got to have the Copilot license. Designer, well, that's been around for ages. Of course, I'm not going to go through and refine all of that, but if I come back to the Copilot, you could actually ask it here, add a picture of, and it will go and do that for you. Or it might be you want to go back to Edge and create your own images using the image creation option that we had in there, and then go and utilize those in your presentation. Now,
Ben, there's a number of features that you've obviously been talking about here that and you've been good at, I suppose, describing which ones are in the paid version of Copilot. There's a whole feature list that is available in the start of the presentation, which is just purely based on utilizing Edge, which is the free version of Copilot. And I see Scott's just answered Amy's question. So with 15 minutes to go, thank you for asking questions as we go. We will save, I suppose, the last 5 minutes of the session for any Q&A and to cover off. So back over to you, Ben.
Okay, no worries. Okay, now on talking about questions, what if you've got a question about the document or the presentation? Okay, well, here we go. Are there any time-saving benefits? We want to know about that on this presentation. So here we go. So you can actually query the documents, the slideshows that you've got up on screen, as it were, and it will go and attempt to find those answers. You can do that on Pages with Edge as well. So here we go. Okay, so that option about email summarization, you can improve reading speed. I'm not quite sure on that, but you'll see this is the answer it's found in here. Whether we question the answer or not, that is what is being said within this presentation, as it were. That's probably more the handy thing, right? If I can use the summarize feature and save 30 minutes per day, that's quite a bit of time over the course of, a week, a month, a year. That probably makes Copilot sound quite cheap if I do a lot of emails, which I know I do. So that's a wee bit of Copilot in PowerPoint. So to round it out, as it were, we are going to finish off with Excel, and then we'll round out and do some Q&A as well. Okay, so let's bring up my Excel, as it were. So I've got my Excel here, got the Copilot icon. Just to show you something, there's actually a new Copilot that Microsoft have introduced called Copilot for Finance, and it's in preview, and you can actually just go and choose add-ins, search for it, and add it to Excel for free. Okay, trust me, you can. our office manager, Nikki, she's got it on her computer and she's using it for reconciling all sorts of stuff and saving heaps of time. Okay, well, I'm not going to go to that one though, because you can all have a bit of a play about with that. Put it on your machine and give it a go. I'm going to go to the paid for, which is what we've got here. So first of all, when I click on Copilot, it's going to lightly tell me that my data needs to be in a certain format. So you'll see on there, disappeared off screen quite quickly, but it's telling me, right, here you go. You need to have it as an Excel table. Okay, my mouse pointer seems to have disappeared from off screen, so just bear with me a moment. Just going to come and see if I can get it back into Excel. If not, I might just try closing Excel down and then I will bring Excel back up again and we'll see. You know, one thing I can't do is I can't work without a mouse pointer with or without Copilot.
What were you saying about Microsoft not doing live demos?
I know, that's it. Yeah, I don't know quite why that is. There must be a Windows 11 feature. We will remove your mouse pointer at the key point of your demonstration. Okay, so let's bring that up. It might be as I keep bringing up that panel, it will do it. Okay, just bear with me. Give me a moment. I'm just going to see if flicking it from one screen to another will help me. Right, now I won't fight the demo gods. What I'll do is I'll talk you through a bit about some of the things that you can actually do with it, because I must admit, without a mouse pointer showing up on screen, I am definitely a bit stuck on there. But I just want to talk you through some of the stuff that it will actually do then. In terms of Copilot in Excel, it will actually do suggested formulas for you. And although I haven't got it on this one, in fact, I might just go back and see. Good old version history on here. Let's see if I can get back to my version I used last time I did a bit of training on this. Okay, so you'll see on here, I've got a column called profit margin. Basically, what Copilot will do is do suggested formula columns for you. So what it did here, it actually went and, based on sales and profit, created a column for me that shows the profit margin. Okay, and this was, how it originally looked. I had that, and Copilot was able to do it for me. The other thing that Copilot allows you to do is actually produce insights based on your data. So what it did is when I said, yep, show me the insights, it went and ran through and said, right, well, we're going to show you profit margin by date. I have to say, when it did it, it had it by day, but, a quick right click and then the option to group, I was able to do it by month. Now it's all stuff that I could actually do before Copilot, but it would actually take me quite a few steps, a bit more thought, and I'm not saying I'm a whiz with Excel on there, but I'm a pretty confident user of it, probably bordering on the, if you wanted to put a level on me, you might say I'm sort of maybe advanced as well. Okay, so that shows you some of the cool stuff you can do there. I don't know if I should be apologizing for Microsoft, but you'll see every time today when I go and try and bring up the Copilot window, it just decides you are not going to be able to bring your mouse pointer up on screen. But it does give you some examples there of some of the things that we can do. We can analyze, we can highlight data. Again, a lot of stuff, if you already know how to do it, just weigh it up against whether you are faster or not. We'll give it a go.
Good stuff.
From me, Ben, I'm always forgetting how to do VLOOKUPs because I do them once every 2 or 3 years. Is it really helpful at
Okay,
resolving?
It will guide you through doing formulas, but one thing I'd say about, if you need a hand, I'd probably say don't use VLOOKUPs actually. You should be using XLOOKUPs, so maybe I should take you back to that comparison feature that I did earlier on in Edge, where I compared Excel from 2003 with Excel of today. XLOOKUPs are the way to go, not VLOOKUPs, although you can still use them. So I'd probably suggest that, but it can certainly help you and guide you. And, if you don't get the answer from Copilot within the application, go and use Copilot in Edge, because you will get some great answers from there. Always read them, but again, it will give you the supporting information. It will show you this is how you do a VLOOKUP, as well as, the syntax, as it were, you need to use, and the option to copy that too. It never just shows you, you've got to enter this. It's got the explanation, the reasoning behind it. That ties in with that learning part that I had on one of those opening slides. It's going to help you learn stuff as well, not just do it and get the job done. Now, believe it or not, there was loads of AI already, or is already available in 365 before Copilot came into existence. So don't miss out on these things. If you want to make you be more efficient, make your life easier, reduce manual handling and, potential for errors or whatever else, definitely get into Power Automate. Look at how you can automate processes, and by utilizing flows, you can build approvals into there as well, so they can go through sign-off. In fact, our leave system at Kinetics is a great example of that. It goes to my manager when I do a leave form. If Hyder approves it, it then goes on to Connie, who checks whether I've actually got any leave available and does final approval as well. There is actually an option in Power Automate called AI Hub, and within there you can actually scan through things like photos, and it will categorize them for you and tell you all about them. And you can build your own models in there for doing stuff like that, looking at receipts and pulling figures out of them, looking at invoices and pulling the numbers out of them, and reconciling them or taking that data elsewhere. For Word, you've got Designer in there, Editor and Dictation. Designer is just in Word in the browser, but it will actually check for formatting inconsistencies as well as giving you design ideas. PowerPoint, we saw today Designer, but there is a subtitles option. You've got the option to remove backgrounds from pictures as well. It's like that. Within Outlook, your focused inbox, you're probably aware of that, I'm sure, because it's just there on how it sort of processes emails, and allows you to put the emphasis on what's important to you and what's not. Of course, rules have been around for years in Outlook for you to process content/emails within Outlook, and you've probably seen your suggested replies, where if it can, it will give you a short reply if that's an option to use as well. And in Excel's probably got the most AI features of all. Flash fill, analyze data, where you can use natural language queries to ask questions, and even good old AutoSum. Okay, there's just loads more.
One question there, Bill, Ben, about from Ben, is around analyzing bigger data sets in Power BI.
Let's jump into that in the Q&A session just next. It's a good question, Ben, and here's a way in which you can explore that, not only in sessions like this, but look, we've been thinking about how we can get the most benefit of Ben's time, expertise, our methodologies around how AI is made ready for your business. And as I said, we've got the next webinar next month, which is, where are you on your journey to AI? But this is a special offer that we're making available to people on the call. So, we've got an opportunity off the back of this webinar for your teams to have a more personalized experience with Microsoft Copilot and with an AI training session. So this will be a 90-minute session, and it includes training and hands-on practice and a reference guide. Now, if you don't have the paid version of Copilot, that's not an inhibitor to this. This training session can be done using the free AI tools, and as Ben just described in the previous page, there's a lot there to offer. So this is a special offer. If you want to take advantage of it, please reach out to your account manager, and we'll schedule a time. As I said, it's a value of about $1,600 for half price. So yeah, make yourself available to that and give us a call. So just back to that question from Ben. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so basically Copilot does sit in Power BI and also what Microsoft, Power BI is part of what they call the Fabric family now. So that's all your data analytics stuff as well. Yeah, so the size of the data set doesn't really matter. You can use Microsoft's AI tools and Copilot in particular to work with small and big data. In fact, again, that presentation I went to, the AI Summit, I say presentation, one of the presentations there was specifically on Fabric, which Power BI is part of the Fabric family, and how you can get Copilot/AI to work with your data sets, big or small, from what every source they come from. Doesn't have to be it sitting in 365. It could be in that SQL database or whatever your system is.
Good stuff. One other question there, Ben, is from Grant. Can Copilot tools within Office 365 apps use company templates to generate content into?
Okay. What you can do, you can go for look and feel. I must admit, my early efforts on that, I haven't tried it for a while, were not a resounding success. But the speed at this stuff moves. I mean, this is sort of the beginning of it in terms of the Microsoft world and 365. Really, it's about, in terms of the size of company Kinetics, a small medium enterprise as it were, we've only had this available to us for about 2 or 3 months, and it's already changing in front of my eyes. So in a year's time, those things that I've found a bit cumbersome or it couldn't do, I think I'm not going to be complaining about those or making the issue with them. But yeah, you can reference files. So in theory, you could be saying, I want the look and feel of my PowerPoint to follow this other PowerPoint.
Right.
Okay.
That's
or
excellent.
Word document.
Excellent. Okay, look, we've run slightly over, and there doesn't seem to be any other questions in the meeting chat. Thank you for attending today. Full hour-long session is a little bit more detailed and more content than we would normally cover. I hope you've enjoyed it, and please register for our next webinar. Thank you.